What if I have told you that becoming an author doesn't begin with publishing a book? It begins with showing up consistently to write. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 small habits that you can follow as an author to build a writing habit that sticks. Hello, my friends. This is Vandana Sehgal. I'm an author, teacher, and a book writing coach. And today, let's understand which are the really small habits that you can use in your daily life to make writing as part of your life. Many aspiring writers wait for inspiration to strike. They imagine that a spark of brilliance will push them into finishing their masterpiece. But the truth is, waiting rarely leads to results. Discipline creates momentum, and momentum fuels creativity. The act of showing up on the page day after day is what transforms your intention into authorship. I live in Sweden, and once a person told me that when you have published 3 books, then you are considered as an author. And I know that I have not become an author, or would have never managed to do it till the time I have followed these 5 habits, the one I'm going to share with you now. The first writing habit that you need to follow, and I have done that same for me, is to start small but to stay consistent. Writing is not about a marathon session or a burst of inspiration. It is about developing a steady rhythm. You need to start small. You need to commit for few minutes of writing. It could be 15 minutes, for me 25 minutes work. And then you can keep building on that. By making writing a non negotiable part of your daily routine, you train your brain to recognize that it is important to you, and it gradually becomes a habit over time. The act of sitting down to write becomes as natural as doing any everyday activity like brushing your teeth, eating your food. What matters most is your progress over your perfection. Your first draft will never be the shiny one. You have to remind yourself that you are focusing on the progress, on that could be the number of words or number of pages that you are willing to write instead of writing a polished piece. The words on your page matter more than the perfect sentence or the perfect title. Novelist Annie Lamott reminds us of this truth in her book Bird by Bird, where she encourages writers to embrace the shitty first draft. It is through imperfect beginnings that we manage to finish a book into writing. Okay, so now moving on to the next habit, that is to create the right environment. A writing habit sticks when you give yourself the right conditions to thrive. You need to set aside a space that is free from distractions. It could be a desk, it could be a corner of a cafe, or even a quiet spot outdoors. This space will give a signal to your mind that it is time to focus. Begin each session with a simple ritual. It could be like deep breathing. For me, breathing few minutes before my writing or even starting my coaching session has become an integral part. I sit with myself for 2 minutes before beginning with any of my writing session or coaching session. You can breathe in the morning, or you can again before the writing. You can take a pause to calm your mind, center your focus. You basically need to prepare yourself to enter into your creative flow. Toni Morrison, for example, often wrote at dawn before her children woke up. She described needing that quiet, sacred time in the morning to set herself grounded before the world started. Like Morrison, your environment and your rituals don't need to be elaborate. They simply need to be to focus and support you in your writing. The third habit I want to talk about is to find your natural rhythm. Not everyone writes best at the same time. Some find their minds sharpest in the early hours of the morning, while others come alive in the quietness of the afternoon or late at night. Once, a artist friend who loves painting shared with me that she had a creative outburst almost every day at 10:30 a.m. when she was all by herself. Her kids were in school, and that was the time she felt most peaceful in drawing on canvas. So, what I'm trying to say is that you need to pay attention to your energy to figure out what is the time when it is at its peak and schedule your writing accordingly. Hemingway was famous for writing at the first light, often standing at his typewriter for several hours before breakfast. On the other hand, Franz Kafka wrote at night, often after midnight, because his day job consumed his mornings and afternoon. Both are proven to be the best authors, and there is no right or wrong way of doing it. The only time that aligns with your natural rhythm is the best time for you. The fourth habit that I personally value a lot is the value of breaks. Sitting for hours endlessly rarely produces the best work. Instead, we need structured intervals to keep our mind fresh. For example, you can have 40 minutes of writing and then 10 minutes of break. It could be next 30 minutes of writing with another 10 minutes of break. And you can finish finally with 20 minutes of writing. This rhythm prevents burnout and allows your creativity to recharge. During breaks, just step away from your computer. Don't stay near your screen. Use that time to drink water, prepare a meal for you, or maybe take coffee. These pause are not the waste of time, they are actually refueling your body and getting you back into the energy of writing. Charles Dickens followed this wisdom. He typically wrote from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m., and then he went the rest of the day walking on the streets of London. So these things are not actually distractions, they are to fuel you, to re energize you, to get back to your passion of writing. Finally, the fifth habit that I would like to share with you and would recommend you to practice is to move. Movement inspires creativity. Great ideas don't always come while you are sitting down. Walking has long been a secret weapon for writers. A writer once said that all truly great thoughts are conceived by walking. A short walk, especially in nature, refreshes the mind and often leads to breakthroughs you won't have found staring at the blank page. In fact, many authors treat walking as part of their writing discipline, and they do not keep it as a separate activity. So, These were the 5 habits that I shared with you to stick to your passion of writing. Becoming an author is not a simple act, but a series of choices. The choice to show up, to write even when it feels messy, to build a discipline into your day. Over time, the pages add up. What begins as a 15 minutes of writing a day becomes chapter, and those chapter becomes your manuscript. The journey of writing is not about speed, it is about persistence. A writing habit that sticks with you, that transforms your dream into a reality. In the end, you don't become an author by publishing. You become an author the moment you commit to writing consistently. This is Vandana Sehgal signing off. If you need any help into writing a nonfiction, reach out to me. I would be happy to serve you.